Welcome, everybody. This is another episode of We Are M&R, and I'm talking with Michael and Scott here from Elite Inc. You guys want to go ahead and tell us about your company, tell us about yourselves and your location.
So my name's Scott. I'm one of the owners of Elite Inc. We are located in Davenport, Iowa. Been in business for a little over 5 years now. We offer screen printing, embroidery, and promotional products. And as of now, we have an automatic press and a manual. We also do, vinyl. We have a heat press for doing names and numbers and things like that. So that's about it.
And I'm Micheal Hedbloom, the other owner of Elite Inc. We're actually brothers. We've been in business about 5 years, and we actually moved to the Quad Cities about 2 years ago. So basically, we have customers both in the Quad Cities and the Galesburg, Knoxville area. That's kind of where we grew up. So
I was looking at your Instagram and I saw quite a bit of local flavor, a lot of school stuff, some pretty exciting stuff. Is that how you guys got started? Do you guys get started working with the schools, local organizations, or how does that? What's your origin story like?
We actually started this business, like I said, about 5 years ago. I got it started working in manufacturing, got a job with John Deere about 7 years ago. Long story short, I worked there for about 3 years and was laid off twice. So after the second time, I kind of figured it was time to kind of take my future in my own hands. Scott and I have been playing basketball for a long time. I don't want to put an age on it. So we've been around tournaments, camps, all kinds of different things. And every time we went, you would see custom jerseys. You'd see everybody kind of have their own swag and apparel. So kind of a light bulb went off. It just kind of seemed the thing to do. So we kind of just jumped in, both feet, and had a lot of learning mistakes along the way. But here we are.
Was there a moment where you guys kind of knew you were going to do this full time? Did you start out part time at first, or was it you guys just dove in 100%?
So we kind of have an interesting timeline. Like Michael said, we've both been kind of in and out of, running the business full time. We both had side gigs, I guess you'd call them, full-time jobs. And then we were just kind of working at the shop, as a second shift. But recently we are actually both now full-time with Elite Inc. We do not have a, regular job. We're dedicating 110% of our time to the business right now. So it's been working well so far. And like I said, it's a lot better knowing that we have, a lot more time to run the business. So
that's a lot of people's stories, right? They start as a sideline, and one of my friends he was a firefighter, so he had was like 4 days on, 3 days off, or he would have a situation like that. But it makes it hard though, because you end up printing till midnight or 2 in the morning. Sometimes you get big orders. I'm sure you guys have done that. It's like if you're trying to when you're getting started, there's a lot of stuff like that where it's difficult. I would say that's probably one of the more common things, is that you try to figure out, how do I transition? But that's exciting that you guys are able to put full time into it, because that makes a huge difference. What's just to get through it? I mean, a lot of people are coming out of this thing. What's it been like for you guys where you're at, like in the location, the last 6 weeks or whatnot?
We're actually located in Illinois is only 5 minutes away from us, so kind of night and day difference as far as what we were allowed to do versus what Illinois was allowed to do. We've been coming in here today, wearing we've been wearing masks and gloves. We did a lot of handling of face masks. But yeah, we've been coming in here pretty much every day and just keeping an eye on how things are changing. We have done a lot of contract work for shops that are not able to produce anything and go to the shop. So that's kind of win-win for both parties. We're getting their work done, and it's keeping us busy. So the transition's been quite different. With all the unknown, it's been an interesting year so far, to say the least. So, we know we're going to have to pivot. We know we're going to do different things, and we're ready for it.
And another thing, just to add to that, is something that and I don't know if you've seen this. You mentioned that you've seen our Instagram, but kind of, pivoting in another direction of what we're used to. We actually just got done with a campaign called Hearts for Heroes, and we just kind of, long story short, we had two different designs. We were printing these shirts. We had an online store, and with every purchase, with every T-shirt, we would also include a free Bella Canvas face mask. We would also donate $10 to two different organizations. One of those was No Kid Hungry, which is a nationwide, organization that feeds kids. I mean, in this time that, all the schools are closed, there's millions of children going without food. So that was a really good organization to, be able to donate to. And the other one was a local healthcare organization. So, that money could be going towards all kinds of different things. And we ended with just under 500 shirts sold. We donated close to $5,000 between the two organizations. So that was kind of again, one of the, like Michael said, kind of a win-win-win, win for everybody. We were keeping our presses running. We were giving donations back to two very deserving organizations, especially during these times. And we were getting to print shirts.
I would encourage everybody that sees this to check out your Instagram and see some of the stuff that you guys done, because that's really impressive. And it's a great thing to be able to help people in this time, whether it's helping other printers or helping other, a lot of people that I've talked to are helping other companies as well. And just the fact that, and then on top of that, donating, a lot of people forget that the food that kids get sometimes is at school, right? Versus the people forget that. And they're like, there's a lot of, unfortunately, kids that are, in a tough position, and that's where they get the majority of their calories. And that's a really difficult thing if they're not able to go to school for them, and they may not know how to navigate it well. So organizations like that literally are super important. So that's really exciting. You guys can do that. What do you think in general makes your company stand out or makes you different? I think one of the things I noticed was your Instagram looks really organized. Like, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean it in a really kind of energetic, colorful way. Like, you guys do a really good job kind of curating your content, and on Facebook as well. Like, I think you do a really good job at kind of showing people that you're really consistent and professional. But I'm curious, like, what do you feel like makes your company kind of unique?
I think you just, nailed it with the social media. We've been posting on social media since we started. It's obviously a very important aspect of any business. But just to be able to see, kind of, we need to take better notes from Andy from Shirt Kong and try to get some more, shots of our shops behind us here. But we just like to show, it's interesting to a lot of people to kind of see the process and see how shirts are actually printed. And it's been successful for us. I mean, we have a website obviously as well, but our social media has definitely got us a lot of, attention, a lot of orders. I mean, it's generated business for us. So that's definitely something that sets us apart from our competition, I guess. So.
Well, that's for sure. And, fortunately or unfortunately, it seems like there's a lot of printers that are still behind the curve with either using social media as a way of getting orders or just expressing their business. And obviously there isn't a lot of opportunity in some of the other areas that there used to be. But switching gears a little bit, would you say, in regards to hurdles, roadblocks, whatever you'd say, like, would you say that this COVID thing is one of the biggest ones, or have you had other challenges while you guys were, growing or maybe transitioning that you've had to deal with?
So one of the biggest things that we've had to overcome over the last, I guess it's been almost a year now, is our sister leaving the business. So she used to be a co-owner as well, and actually she left to work for her now husband's business. He owns a business selling agriculture, seeds, pesticides, everything like that. So she works for him now. So losing her was definitely something that, we had to change a lot of our processes, kind of designate the things that she was doing on a daily basis amongst myself and Michael. And it's definitely been hard, but, we're getting better every day. We're still not perfect, but that was definitely an obstacle that, we had to overcome. And we weren't going to tell our sister that she couldn't work for her husband, and
everybody left on good family events, no problem.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
obviously,
I would say, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
that's obviously the pandemic has been a setback as well, but I would say if we were to pick something else, it would definitely be that.
I mean, that brings up another point, which is like partnerships in general. Do you guys balance each other out? Do you do similar kind of skills? I've noticed with a lot of partnerships where people are kind of in a good mood and their fists aren't up, that they have maybe they have skills that the other partner doesn't have. In that sense, like they can complement each other. But I'm just curious, from you guys, obviously being brothers, that's an advantage. But I'm just wondering, do you find that challenging, or is it just a big benefit?
Like Scott said, when Lindley left the business, our sister, she did a lot of customer service, handled that. She did a lot of the book work. So when she did leave, we kind of had to pick up the slack, obviously. So, I mean, we both deal with customer service. We both have hands in everything. Scott does social media. He does the design work. I can't take any credit for that. I'm not really a graphic designer kind of type, but we basically have our hands in everything. He'll have a day where he cleans screens. I'll have a day where I clean screens. He'll print one day, I'll print the next. So we kind of, basically, there's not really specific jobs per se, but we just know it's going to take both of us to keep the company running. Running a screen printing business with two people kind of be overwhelming at times. So that's why our process has to be, right on to make sure that, we take our time. Quality is the number one thing for us, but that way we're productive and we're more efficient than, maybe shops with more people running around.
That's definitely true, because I think that throwing more employees at a process isn't always the best best way to get things done. I've seen that
Yeah,
in some companies. I'll
Exactly.
tell you, you get a lot of people standing around on their phones, and and then, where are the shirts at? And then that'll make you tear your beard out for sure. I would say, in regards to tips or different things, what do you think? What's something in particular that you guys feel that you've done right, as far as you've noticed maybe versus other printers? There might be something that pops into your head that you notice. Is there something that you can think of?
If you're a screen printer, just starting out, my best advice to give you is find businesses that are very, very high above you. They've been in the game for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. We've been following Shirt Kong, Campus Ink, Terminus Tees. All three of them do a very, very good job of, A to Z process. Their social media, the process they do, their machines, everything is top notch. I would definitely follow them. Andy from Shirt Kong, I called him one day and I had a couple questions, and next thing I know, I'm on the phone for 30 minutes. Very humble, very accessible. So that's what I would tell new screen printers. We actually started watching YouTube videos before we started this, and we ended up getting all water-based and 110 screens. So you can imagine a couple guys that thought YouTube would be the way to get information. We didn't know how to cure water-based, so it was kind of a learning process in the starting out that we should have been running plastisol, because obviously water-based is kind of a different animal and you need a lot of different equipment for that. So that would be my advice to new screen printers in the business.
And kind of add to that, something else, we don't want to leave barrel makers out. Barrel maker printing in Chicago, definitely something that we would recommend is, Ryonet, they have awesome classes that they host, all around the United States. I believe Barrel Maker is still doing those. And me and Michael went to one of their classes almost 6 years ago now, just before we kind of, we didn't even have our equipment bought yet. So that was kind of the, where we really got our hands, into the processes instead of just watching the videos and things like that. So that's definitely something, else that anybody starting out, you got to get your hands dirty. I mean, you got to experience it. Watching videos and trying to read things, I mean, it's great, but it only does so much. So, getting out there in those classes, it can definitely be beneficial.
Those are both great points, guys. I think one of the most common things is as entrepreneurs or go-getters, you want to get stuff done. You'll get the customer shirts in, you'll get the press, everything, and then you stop and you go, oh, wait a minute. Now, what do I got to do in what order? And there's just a real tendency for people to charge ahead and forge ahead before they actually test or learn things. And one of the most common things I'll have happen when I go out to a shop, if I consult with people or train them, or I'm at a show training people, is I'll just simply ask them, when's the last time you looked at your print under any magnification at all? With a loop or any, and the vast majority of people are like, why would I do that? And I'm like,
Yeah, a lot of
well, so it's one of those things where it's like there are, and understandably, if you didn't know why you should look at a print magnified, and to see dot gain or to see bleeding on the edges or to see if your stencil is exposed or developed properly, all those different variables. But if somebody needs to explain that to you, you need to know what you're looking for, right? Otherwise you're just going to wander around. And and I think that that's one of the most common things with our industry, unfortunately, is we have so many folks that are kind of learn themselves, and they're experts, and it's this little slice of it. But then you're like, why are you curing stuff with an iron, or you know what I mean, or like a hot gun, a heat gun still, but they're masters at doing this like printing technique, and they're, in other areas they're completely siloed. So I think that's both of those are really great advice to find either a mentor or get some actual hands-on training. I think that have you guys, you were at Print Hustlers, right? At Printavo? Yeah,
yep.
I remember that. And then, so I felt like that was a fantastic event. I mean, Bruce put on a really great event. I mean, unfortunately, I think they're going to do a virtual one, although that could be great as well. I haven't been to a virtual event like that yet. But one of the great things there was some of the networking, getting to meet you guys and meeting some of the other people involved. So I'll be looking forward to seeing that this year. How do you guys feel about shows this year? Is it unlikely you're going to go? Or, I mean, I know there's, what's the next one? Print United. There's Print United coming up in Atlanta. Do you guys have any plans to go to any shows this year, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like everything else. It's kind of a day by day thing. Um, I'm not for sure if any of the shows or the classes kind of in a kind of a standstill now with the date range. But as soon as they say we're good to go, we're definitely going to be attending a bunch of them. Just for the simple fact, like Scott said, it kind of gives you an opportunity to network, to learn some things. And this is a business that there's always things to learn, and always ways to perfect your craft. So we definitely enjoy going to those classes.
And we still haven't. We've been to Dax a couple times, but we still haven't made it out to Long Beach. So we're thinking that's kind of one that we wanted to go to for a while. Make the trip to California, and I believe it's actually the biggest show. So that's going to be on our radar. But like Michael said, I mean, just taking it day by day, and if those end up getting canceled, it's not going to be good. But if they're not, we'll be there. So.
Well, I'm excited. I'm hoping that by October things have really settled down enough to have at least a what I would consider like a kind of rebound type show with Print United. That's what I'm hoping for. Again, like you guys are saying, you got to go week by week with cases and other things, other concerns. But people have to get comfortable traveling, staying in hotels, different things. But yeah, if you get the chance to make it to Long Beach, it is definitely probably our biggest show, that we typically go to. Print United obviously being a close second, but Long Beach last year, or I think of it as last year, but it was this year, January. It seems like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, with all this stuff going on. But I'd highly recommend that, if not for anything, just from networking standpoint, because that's where I met Andy from ShirtCon personally, and some of the other people like Dylan or Grizzly Wheeler. We got a lot of Blue Crew people coming to the show, so that'll be exciting. I'm going to try to do maybe even a Blue Crew meet up, where we all can meet up and kind of swap stories and stuff. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So I want to
Yeah.
be respectful of your guys' time. One thing I was going to ask you is, just a real quick recap on social media and maybe merch stores. Do you guys do any work with online merch stores as far as social media? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we actually, well, we do use Printavo. So we do a lot of merch stores, which has helped out, great for us. We do deal with a lot of schools. So now instead of, a teacher or a coach handing out a bunch of physical order forms, collecting the money, sometimes it's cash, sometimes it's checks that are made out to the wrong people. So now this kind of gives us an opportunity that the kids or whoever can actually order directly online. We get paid right then. And that way it's kind of, instead of waiting for the money, we have it. And then we keep it open for 2 weeks, close it down, and then print everything. So basically for the person that's organizing it, it makes it a lot easier for them too. So it's good for us and it's good for them. So it's been a definite positive thing for us.
That's a big deal for a lot of mid-size and even bigger screen printers to be able to start to work in the digital space and actually take orders. And as you said, like get the money first, right? So you're not waiting on, because sometimes with schools, as you know, there's a long
Oh
PO
yeah.
process that and then they're like, oh yeah, the athletic director forgot, they went on vacation and they didn't put the PO in, and then you're waiting another,
Yeah.
2 weeks or whatever. Not that that would ever happen to you, but yeah, for sure,
Net,
right?
you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Well, you mentioned that, other shops that maybe are a little bit restricted have been reaching out to you. What's the best way for somebody to reach out to you guys? Maybe chat with you, or, request some help if they need it, that sort of thing. What's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
I would say, the best way is actually probably email. We do have a phone, but with me and Michael being here, if we're running the press, it's not always the easiest to get to. But I would say email, which is just eliteinkprinting@gmail.com. Phone is good too, 563-424-5161. And again, social media. I mean, that's always a big one, and it's an easy way to connect pretty much instantly. So anyway, anybody want to reach out? Like Michael said, we've been doing some contract printing work. We're definitely open to taking more of that on. It's kind of another category that we've had to pivot into because of the pandemic. But so far it's been great for us. So if there's any shops out there that need any contract printing work done, let us know.
Well, you guys do great work. I mean, your printing is top notch. And I don't always say that because I've seen a lot of shops, and your stuff is really clean and it's really well done. It's really well printed. It's accurate. The colors are bright. So yeah, I mean, I definitely think if somebody needs some help, they should look to you guys, because I can tell the quality even just, from looking at the images, but it's indicative, and I could tell you when you guys were at the shop, or when you were at Printavo's event, you guys were all branded up and represented, and it's like, okay, here's the guys that know how to do branding well, because it shows, right? And you walk around when you're proud of your company and you wear it. I know a lot of companies don't, I guess, own that, when we used to run a martial arts school, that was one of our mantras, it was like ABP, always be promoting, right? But and it can get over the top, but if you do the right amount, or you don't want to be wearing 37 pieces of bling or whatever they say, but if you have the right amount, right, you have the right branding and the professional impression, I think you guys really got that down. So yeah, I'd encourage anybody to reach out to you guys, and
Thank you.
thanks a lot for your time, guys. All right, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Hey, we want to end this real quick. We want to just thank M&R team. We've had our press and our dryer for about 3 or 4 months, and from the install to the customer service has been top notch. We actually had a bowl blowout on our flash dryer. I think I called about 3:30 in the afternoon, and we had it the next day. So right there, timing is everything in this business. And when something's down like that, it's needed to get as quick as possible, and M&R came through, and we appreciate that, and we want to thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys. Well, I appreciate it, and I look forward to talking to you guys. Thanks a lot for your time today.
Thank you.
Yep. You have
All
a good one, Thomas.